lot of evil in this land, and there's a lot of good as well. And he said, your screams and your shouts have come up before heaven. And Jesus asked the Father, what are they asking for? And he said, they're asking for unity. So Cam Clement was sent because he was a white South African male who lived through apartheid. And after Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. foresaw his own death prior to his last speech in California, at I can't remember the university, but he gave a speech, and he knew that he wasn't going to see the day, but he had hoped to live on. Just a few years before that, Kim Clement had an encounter with Jesus. So Jesus' response to the American troubles since World War II, and I bring up World War II because there's a lot to that as well, but Jesus raised up Martin Luther King Jr. as a prophet and a voice into this nation, and he stood on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, and he promised that if America went back to business as usual, it would be in for a rude awakening, because they had come to cash a promissory note, and America failed. So that was the first voice. The second voice, because the American church did not continue the fight. God sent a white African American man, and the church accepted him but didn't hear him. That is not ironic to me. And then towards the elections, one of the greatest things about Kim Clement was his prophetic voice and eyes to see into the governments and what man has planned, and also know the will of Papa God. So Kim Clement's prophecies still live on thanks to Donnie, and I am just so thankful that she's a watchman on the wall and she is still stoking the fires. But since the 2020 elections, there have been a lot of dreamers and prophetic words going out, and people have laughed because people think it's a joke. Well, today is April Fool's. Today is April 1st of 2021, and let me tell you what, God's got jokes, because when he made a promise, especially to Sarah, she was in the tent and she laughed. And he asked her, why'd you laugh? She said, I didn't laugh. And he said, okay, by this time next year, promise. You'll hold the promise. And the name of that promise was Isaac, and it means laughter, because God always gets the last laugh. So while everything has looked staged, and Dana Coverstone's dreams of Lincoln and the stage and everything going on, and then Dutch Sheets with the dreams about Trump, it's all been playing into God's hands. He knows exactly what he's doing, and the reason that he's done it this way was to get everybody's attention, bring forward the fact that when God sent an African American man, the church didn't hear him. When he sent a white African American man, nobody heard. But now he's sending a girl, an unknown girl named Esther, or known what he calls Esther, hidden star, for the stage of political buffoonery. Because Esther is a book about political jokes. It is a comedy. And under the Jewish book, the secular book, it's all about how God is never mentioned, but he's behind directing every scene. So here's a joke for you, America. You want answers? I'll give you answers, because I see them. In 1993, Osama bin Laden bombed World Trade Center. In 96, one of Kim Clement's first prophecies, and one that was way overlooked and not seen, he talked about a plane over Long Island. That was TW-800, and somebody 2006, we were dealing with President Clinton's impeachment. And then, on top of that, Bill Clinton had said how China was coming onto the stage as a friend. And China was desperate. The regime of China. The people that have decided that they want to take out America. Those itching for a new war. Let me show you how they clasped hands. What they did was they made a deal with Osama bin Laden and Russia in 2016. They came for America, and they used our weaknesses against us. But what they didn't know is that Jesus is very much alive, and when he stood in that table and he saw the paper that had China's energy thing for the United Nations on it, he leaked that. And when I saw it, I knew exactly what had happened. The betrayal in the White House was from China, because in 2013, Biden went over there with his son. And in an interview while he was there with President Obama, he had talked about how all our stuff was out there in the open. You can see everything in the open because of our systems and our transparency. So they used our own thing against us. They leaked the thing, and Q came from Al-Qaeda. It's a funny play on words, because they've been working hand in hand. And now, Russia and China want to come into our country because they're hoping that they can detonate what they've done. The problem is I see you. I've always seen you. And you misjudged the power of Jesus Christ. He said this nation was his. He said he would come visit it. He would heal us. This was never about left or right, Republican or Democrat. Kim Clement said that numerous times. This was about healing and Jesus. And he said, I picked this nation. And the soul of this nation is corrupted. Oh, you bet it is. Oh, but God, he's got jokes and joy. And the Spirit of the Lord is the oil. And the Spirit of prophecy is Christ. Christ is the only thing that will heal this nation. And you won't come after our schools. You won't implement socialism, because I see you. And I will not stand idly by. And for those of you who have wondered where was Esther on Purim? You misunderstand. Esther had asked for 2 meals, for 2 feasts. Purim would have been the first one. That would have been too obvious. Oh, here's the Esther. No, God waited until today. April Fools. According to Orthodox Christianity, this is the day that the woman anointed his feet with oil, and he had a feast. It was called the Last Supper. For I will lay out a table in the midst of your enemies. Right? Right, Jesus? That's what you said. So our enemies are here and abroad. Because we have some enemies here, but they're not people. It's systems. It's broken systems. That's what God wants to fix. And heal hearts and unite a nation. Because we are facing something right now that is super scary. Because no matter how this court case goes with George Floyd, if it goes wrong and they are not convicted and justice does not prevail, I fear that we'll see an LA riot. And I can't see these people destroyed again, because if we go towards an LA riot again, we will not see the healing that is necessary for this nation. And as for the China thing and QAnon, well played. The problem is you didn't know what God was doing. You took information that was public knowledge, used it, and then you went after Bill Clinton's wife because you were pissed off about the hanging Chad. You were the ones behind 9/11. Because on the day that 9/11 happened, China was the first one to call President Bush because you were expecting Al Gore. But you didn't see that our Constitution had protections and the Supreme Court. It's you who's fueled our media, trying to overthrow our Constitution, because while we went into the war in Iraq and we took similar stuff, and this country has called ourselves a democratic country. It's not. We are a constitutional republic, which means for the people, by the people, and of the people. You have been trying to dismantle it because ours is the only one that is still accurate. And the reason I know that is because in 1966, with the act that didn't get passed for civil rights, that was filibustered, as well as the issue that the covenant that was made in New York with the United Nations, which nobody's upkept, by the way. Oh, and by the way, Kim Clement already said that God was going to visit the United Nations because you guys are about worthless. Only he can unite a nation. And nations, for that matter. Oh, China. When your president got rid of the term limits back in 2018, when after a meeting with President Trump, you waged an all-out war. You waged an all-out war. And you did. You messed with our elections. Because you want to take America down. You believe in Marxism. That was very clear. I saw it in the India paper. You have one goal, and that is to become a superpower, China. The problem is, the whole Russian collusion with President Trump, that was you leaking stuff, trying to confuse the American public so that they would get mad. But you're still going after Hillary Clinton because you were pissed off at Bill. Oh, isn't it funny, China? Jesus said, and I know, I heard him. I stand in those halls. I know what happens. And now Esther has arrived for such a time as this. Because Perry Stone a couple years ago saw a vision that Al-Qaeda had a bomb. And that you were coming for this country. Funny. QAnon. Al-Qaeda. With a Q. You don't think we didn't see? You don't think that God didn't see? I won't let you destroy this country. People can laugh at me all they want. But God gets the last laugh. So April Fools. Oh, and by the way, President Trump, you are Joseph. And the reason things went down the way that they did and you were betrayed is because just like Kim Clement wrote in the letter and told you that you need to do what Esther told you to do, you need to go look at Dutch sheets. You need to go look at his dreams starting in about October to November, because there were several of them that issued the fact that it was all about Pennsylvania, it was about the Constitution, it was about the unfulfilled promise of the African Americans, and a lot of those symbols were telling you to take a knee. That is what he's asking of you. And Kim Clement told you, do as Esther says. If I perish, I perish. But take a knee. Black lives matter. And that's what Jesus came for. So Jesus will heal this country. But China can't win.